All right, let's do this. Today, right now, we are going to write your very first line of code. Seriously, by the time we're done here, you'll have actually made your computer talk. So, you ready to jump in? I mean, that's really what programming is all about, right? It's not some scary, complex math thing. It's just giving a computer a list of instructions. And our very first instruction, it's a classic, a total rite of passage for every programmer out there. It's called Hello World. And it's the perfect place to start because it does one super important thing. It proves that everything is set up right and that you, yes, you, can actually talk to your computer. Okay, so to give the computer these instructions, we need to speak its language, or, well, a language it understands. And for our little quest today, we're going to be using a language called Python. Think of it as our magic language. And what's so cool about Python is how it's this amazing mix of being super powerful, but also really simple. I mean, you've got huge companies like Google and Netflix using it for all sorts of crazy stuff. But at the same time, it's written to be easy for humans to read and write. That's why it's pretty much the perfect first language to learn. All right, so every adventurer needs a toolkit, right? For our coding quest, we just need a couple of things. And trust me, it's way simpler than it sounds. So, number one, you need Python itself installed on your computer. That's the actual language. And number two, you need something called a code editor. A great one is Visual Studio Code. The easiest way to think about it is like it's your digital spell book. It's where you're going to write down all your magic instructions. Okay, got your tools ready? 'Cause it is time for the main event. Let's actually write our very first program. Here we go. Okay, first things first. Go ahead and open up that code editor, your spellbook. Now create a brand new, totally blank file. The name here is actually pretty important. Let's call it first_program.py. And you see that little .py at the end? That's not just for looks. It's a super important signal. It's basically you telling the computer, hey, pay attention, this file has Python code inside. Okay, now for the magic. Inside that file you just made, I want you to type this one single, powerful line. Print hello world. That's it. That is your first spell. Now, I know it might look a little weird, but every single piece of this line has a very specific job. So let's break it down, because this one little line teaches you a really fundamental concept in all of programming. So that first word, print, that's a built-in command in Python. It's literally an order. You're telling the computer, hey, display something on the screen. And the parentheses, they're just there to hold whatever it is you want to show. And what about the stuff inside the parentheses? Well, that text, hello world, is what we call a string. And those quotation marks around it are absolutely crucial. They're what tells Python, look, don't try to figure this out as a command. This is just plain old human text. Just show it exactly as I wrote it. And that right there, distinguishing text from code, is a huge idea you're going to use all the time. Okay, you've made the file, you've written the code. Now, for the best part, let's actually see it work. It's time to run your program. This is the moment of truth. So, right inside your code editor, you'll need to open something called the terminal. It's basically a little window where you can type commands directly to your computer. In that window, I want you to type Python, then a space, and then the name of your file, first_program.py. And then just hit enter. And boom, just like that, you did it. The text hello world should pop right up on your screen. You gave the computer an instruction and it listened. It did exactly what you told it to do. That's it. You are officially a programmer. How cool is that? Now, hold on. What if it didn't work? What if you got an error? First of all, take a deep breath. That is 100% normal. Every single programmer on the planet makes mistakes, especially when they're starting out. The real skill is learning how to spot them. So let's look at a couple of the most common little tripwires. Okay, this is probably the number one mistake every beginner makes, forgetting those quotation marks. See, without the quotes, Python tries to read hello and world as if they're commands, not just text. And, well, it has no idea what those commands are, so it just gets totally confused and gives you an error. A couple other quick things to check for. Any little typos in your file name when you run the command? Or maybe something's up with your Python installation itself. But really, these are just small hurdles. Figuring this stuff out is all part of the game. It's how you learn. So whether it worked the first time or the fifth time, let's just take a second to really appreciate what you just did. You wrote and successfully ran your first ever computer program. I know it seems like a tiny little thing, but believe me, this is a massive first step. Think about it. Every single complex app on your phone, every amazing video game, all this mind-blowing AI stuff, it all started with a foundation exactly like this. You've just experienced the fundamental loop of all programming. You write an instruction, you run it, and you see what happens. You've laid the very first stone on a really, really exciting path. And that, right there, is the real magic. You started with Hello World, but now the possibilities are literally endless. So, I have a challenge for you. Go back to that file, change the text inside the quotes, run it again, make the computer say your name, make it tell a terrible joke. You've just started a conversation with your computer. What are you going to say next?